So behind me, you'll see that we've set up two almost identical units which we've decorated as bedrooms. I say almost identical because the container on the right hand unit has been fitted with a residential sprinkler system, and the unit on the left has not. In all other respects, the containers are the same, measuring approximately 3 metres by 3 metres with a ceiling height of just short of 3 metres. And you'll note that each container has a baffle across the front edge, and this is in place because, as you'll notice in your own homes, rooms generally have 4 walls. In order for the burn to progress normally, we need to contain the fire gases at height within each unit. I'm now going to introduce you to the teams that we have working on this burn today. We've been very kindly assisted in this by the crew of Winsford Fire Station, led ably by Watch Manager Lee Cliff, who's by the fire plant you can see behind me. And they're going to be lighting the fires for us and providing a safety detail this morning. We're now going to start the burns, and as they get going, we'll set the timer in the bottom left-hand corner running as well, which you'll be able to see just down there on top of the speaker. So each unit has been fitted with a bed, a bedside table, and another small piece of furniture, as well as soft furnishings, ball games, and other items which you would encounter in a normal domestic setting. We estimate that each unit contains sufficient fuel loading to support a fire of approximately 2 megawatts in size, which is equivalent to roughly a 2-seater sofa on fire. This is important because sprinkler systems are designed to control fires to a particular size, usually 2, 5 or 10 megawatts, depending on the hazard level within the building and the application. As you can see, the fires in both compartments are now developing from an incipient stage and are growing to involve the combustible materials around them. Obviously, we have limited the amount of fuel in our containers, and in a real situation, you would likely find significantly more. As we all know, heat is transferred through convection, conduction and radiation. In this case, we can see that the hot fire gases are spreading upwards towards the ceiling of the compartment as the fire spreads via direct flame contact to the materials closest to it. At this point, the temperature of about 1 metre of the floor will be relatively negligible in the compartment. So as you can see, the sprinkler unit, the sprinklers in the unit on the right-hand side have now operated. The sprinkler heads in the unit were fitted with heads that operate around about 68 degrees, and we can see that the sprinkler is doing an excellent job of controlling the size of that fire, and may even put it out. You'll also note that in comparison to the unsprinkled compartment on the left, there is very little smoke now being produced, as this is also being controlled by the sprinkler system. And this will also help to address some of the popular myths about sprinklers, which we can thank Hollywood for. As you can see, that only one sprinkler head is activated. So when sprinkler heads activate, they do so through heat, and only the heads nearest the fire operate in order to control it. The Hollywood dramatisation that all heads activate at once is a myth. So at this point, the fire is now being controlled in the sprinklered unit. However, the fire in the unsprinkled unit is continuing to grow, and we'll shortly be seeing the heat at the ceiling height increase significantly as the fire develops into the hot gas layer and begins to radiate heat back down onto the other items in the room. The smoke and products of combustion are being produced in increasingly significant quantities, and this will include toxic gases such as carbon monoxide, which is so dangerous in a fire situation, and one of the principal reasons why firefighters wear breathing apparatus. So now our firefighting crews are moving in to bring the fire under control. And they will now be extinguishing the fire using a high pressure hose reel from a defensive position externally. In 2016-17, there were over 30,000 house fires in England, and 35% of those fires were caused by the misuse of equipment or appliances. And the second largest cause category was faulty appliance and leads, which caused 16% of all accidental dwelling fires. As you can see in the left-hand unit, the possibility of a survivable atmosphere has decreased significantly within the compartment. And shortly before we extinguished the fire, you would see that the items lower down in the room began to decompose from the heat given off by the ignitable fire gases, which is the process of pyrolyzation. And it's at that point that the compartment is approaching the stage of fire development known by firefighters as flashover, which occurs roughly between 500 and 600 degrees. And this occurs where all the items in the room are heated simultaneously to their ignition temperature, and a fire within a room becomes a room on fire as the fire enters the fully developed stage prior to it beginning its decay. And it goes without saying that at that point, temperatures within that compartment would likely be in excess of 800 degrees. So our firefighting crews are now bringing that fire under control, and while we let them complete that task, just run through a few quick facts about sprinklers. Sprinkler heads discharge between 35 and 100 litres of water per minute. Our fire crews will likely pump somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000 litres per minute if it's a significantly larger fire. Our sprinkler heads have an operating temperature of between 57 and 230 degrees, depending on the risk and the design specification of the system. Sprinklers cannot cause false alarms. The only way that they can operate is when the air around them reaches the head's predetermined temperature. They will not respond to smoke, dust, or fumes from aerosol sprays. So the crews will continue to finish damping down the compartment, and we'll thank them for their assistance today. Obviously, the bigger the fire, the more water required to ensure it's fully extinguished. As you can see, we've put already quite a significant amount of water on that fire. And you'll know that there's going to be significant fire and water damage to the unsprinkled compartment in comparison to some minor water damage in the sprinkler compartment to the right. So if you just bear with us for a few minutes while we continue extinguishing that fire, and we'll bring the cord forward a little so you can get a better view of the two compartments side by side. Colleagues from our corporate communications department would really like to catch up with you all after this and get your thoughts on this morning, so please do take the time to speak to them. And if you have any questions in relation to fire safety, then my uniform colleagues in the white shirts will be able to answer those for you. And once the operational crew have finished their work, we will make them available to answer any questions on operational firefighting that you may have as well. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for your attention, and I hope that you've enjoyed this short demonstration and found it to be informative. Thank you very much.